If the state of Colorado just does a copy-paste on last year's budget, the same programs would cost $700 million more this year. Then you add on top of that, a voter approved $350 million in spending for public safety, and now the state's Joint Budget Committee has to find $1 billion to cut from somewhere. Our Marshall Zellinger went to find out what programs are safe and what might go away.
There's going to be some really painful cuts. And there's no way to do that in a way that doesn't cause some kind of impact to folks across the state. And that's heartbreaking, but that is the job that we have.
Just not to K-12 education. Democratic State Senator Jeff Bridges and Republican State Senator Barb Kirkmeyer both say their work on the Joint Budget Committee will make K-12 funding the last to be touched. Last year, for the first time in decades, school districts received required state funding without any dollars held back. Will that continue this year? Will the state fully fund education?
Yes, fully fund education as required under the Constitution.
The debate about K-12 funding is how students are counted. Districts can receive funding based on current student enrollment or an average of the last 2, 3, or 4 years, whichever number is higher. If a prior year average is used, it's known as providing money for phantom kids.
If I personally have to choose between funding kids that don't exist and fully funding the kids who do, I'm going to choose the kids who actually exist every time.
Don't get me wrong. I agree with what Senator Bridges was speaking to about that we shouldn't be funding children who aren't there in the school systems. But that's not the role of the Joint Budget Committee.
Kirkmeyer believes lawmakers across the street should figure out the funding equation so the Joint Budget Committee can make cuts based on that decision. A separate education topic is funding universal preschool, which voters approved in 2020.
The ballot initiative was to pay for 10 hours of preschool.
But Colorado currently funds 15 hours, a half day, for all 4-year-olds.
I think universal pre-K is a phenomenal benefit to our state in so many different ways, and I do not want to see that program cut.
So what does get cut? Where does the state find $1 billion in services to stop providing? Bridges gave one small example.
The Colorado Energy Office has a program where they spend about $500,000 a year helping marijuana grow centers become more energy efficient. Right? That's nice, but it's not a need to have. This is a really great example of a program that will be gone, and that's $500,000. But there's not another 1,999 of these programs to get to $1 billion.
About 1/3 of the state's budget is K-12. A third is Medicaid, 15% prisons and higher ed, and then smaller amounts for courts, public safety, public health. It really is the responsibility of 6 lawmakers, but really their staff, led by a director whose name is Craig Harper, who simplify the budget requests from each of those departments, the impacts those requests have, Kyle, and then the savings that would result from those requests.
I was trying to follow the numbers there. Medicaid's the big bucket.
It really is. I think it's slightly more than K-12. And so we've done stories here about there are mental health providers that are leaving the system because they don't get enough reimbursement. So the JBC, the Joint Budget Committee, has to figure out, do we raise the reimbursement, which means more money, which means you're cutting somewhere else. I learned today that Colorado allows almost twice as many people to receive Medicaid. Do you start to pare that down from who can qualify? And it really is a dance that nobody wants to do, but these 6 lawmakers get to do it.
Yeah, it's real consequences for real people, and that's why we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it. Marshall Zellinger, thank you.